This is part 2 to my roasting game companies video. If you want to see part 1, it's in the description and probably in the iCard. Okay, let's get started. Okay, starting on a pretty positive note here in comparison to the last video, these guys are mostly known for one thing and one thing only. The LEGO games. You know, like LEGO Star Wars and LEGO Indiana Jones and, God forbid, LEGO Harry Potter. And you know what? These guys are probably one of the few Western studios that remain consistent in making some pretty good games. Admittedly, it's hard to fuck up a LEGO game based off of another IP, but who could have guessed that including actual voice acting in your later lineup of games would actually improve the quality of the comedic timing in your games? I honestly don't have much to roast about you guys aside from you only making games for children and adults that collect LEGO for a living, but I'll be honest, I wouldn't consider that a bad thing. And I'm glad we started on a high note because we're immediately taking a harsh dive downward. Supercell, nobody actually gives a fuck about your games aside from the people who don't have access to a computer or a console, and the only reason your games have any relevance is because of meme culture. But considering the average lifespan of memes nowadays is anywhere between 2 days to 2 weeks, it's a miracle any of the memes spawned from your games have lasted longer than that. But that just goes to show how much more popular mobile games are compared to any other type of game. Go ahead and take that information how you will. Wow, another mobile game studio, and they're somehow significantly less relevant than Supercell. Aside from the movies, I want you guys to try and remember the last time anyone has ever mentioned Angry Birds since the early 2010s. Go on, I'll wait. The editor will cut me off here, so just imagine I've been sitting here until the heat death of the universe. What the fuck happened to you guys? Now, I get it. You guys are actually trying to improve Borderlands 4 behind Randy Dickford's back, but still, talk about a severe falloff. You guys created not only the Half-Life expansions, which were awesome regardless of canonicity to the Half-Life storyline, and of course the Borderlands series of games, which dropped off significantly after Borderlands 2. I guess you guys got rid of your best writers after they created Handsome Jack, because while the gameplay of Borderlands 3 was pretty good from what I've heard, the story is one of the most nonsensical things ever conceived, and Borderlands 4 was released with the worst optimization ever witnessed by any game ever. Again, it doesn't help that Randy Pitchford is so bad at his job of making himself or Gearbox look good by consistently acting like a whiny fucking bitch on Twitter in response to both genuine criticism and blatant assholery, but at least you guys are trying to fix that from what I've been hearing. No, not the Randy problem, the optimization problem, though you guys seriously need better leadership. You know what? Despite what I've heard about Postal 3 and maybe Postal 4, you guys are actually pretty cool as a company. For a company basically built off of uncaring edginess, you guys just so happen to be the most diverse and awesome company ever seen. And it doesn't seem like that'll ever stop. Hell, I enjoyed Postal 2 so much that I decided to play Postal Brain Damage, and while I definitely can't get away with playing it on YouTube because of the crackhead moderation, it's still one of the better movement shooters I've played in a while. And you guys managed to give Dave fucking Oshry of New Blood to voice one of the enemies in Brain Damage new DLC? Yeah, I genuinely can't even roast you guys, because knowing how based you guys are, you'll probably create a roast for yourselves that both you and I could laugh at. You guys are literally only known for being the new publishers of Rain World after Adult Swim dropped Video Cult for whatever reason, and helped them create the Downpour DLC. And while Downpour is fun, it has also severely divided the community of Rain World to an insane degree, to the point where I was basically hesitant to even put Rain World on the list of things to talk about at all. But hey, at least you guys never released anything unfinished. Oh, right, the Watcher DLC. Fuck me. I'm putting Infinity Ward and Treyarch together because they're both known for only one thing: Call of Duty. Now, Infinity Ward created basically all the Call of Duty games all the way up until the Modern Warfare reboot, which is basically most of the actually good Call of Duty games. Then, Treyarch became the new heads of the COD series and decided to shit and piss all over what made the series good and devote the series to a less artistically coherent and less fun version of Fortnite with an annual release schedule. I guess the only other thing that I can roast Treyarch specifically for is that their fanboys are absolutely brain dead. I pretty much equate them to the mega fans of the Helviverse, where they'll win themselves gold medals in mental gymnastics to justify why they willingly support and enjoy a blatantly incoherent and sloppy series, when all they have to say is that they just enjoy the slop. Honestly, if they just said that, it would be significantly less embarrassing than coming up with flaccid excuse after flaccid excuse, because if I'm being honest, everyone enjoys slop to some degree. It's just that some of us are more willing to admit to it than others. Okay, most of you probably don't immediately know who these guys are, but you more than likely know about their work. If you've ever heard of or played big rigs over the road racing, you already know the average quality of a game mill game. However, what I want to bring your attention to is the list of insanely popular and expensive IPs they've gotten their hands on. Let me just pull up the list. Cobra Kai, The Karate Kid Saga Continues, Cartoon Network Battle Crashers, DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing, Frozen, Olaf's Quest, G.I. Joe Operation Blackout, Nerf Legends, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 1 and 2, Nickelodeon Kart Racers 1 through 3, Zombieland Double Tap, The Walking Dead Destinies, and Skull Island Rise of Kong. My question is, what fucking max persuasion bastard do they have working at Game Mill, making these deals with these insanely massive companies to have them willingly hand over their IPs to a company known for making exclusively horrible and IP-ruining games? How the fuck do they get away with this? I mean, Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon aren't known for much nowadays, I know. Nobody knows what the fuck Zombieland is anymore. But King fucking Kong and The Walking Dead! I'm honestly more impressed that they could just get away with it, more than I am mad at the quality of their games. I had to look into what this company was known for aside from the Soul series, and they pretty much have their hand in a lot of good and not so good series and games. My only question is, why the hell did you feel the need to flashbang us with your logo for so many years, only to revert that the moment that Shadow of the Erdtree came along? Why did it take you 2 decades to figure out what Dark Mode was when you're known for Dark Souls? Yeah, I might as well just roast Blizzard too. While Treyarch represents laziness in the sense of not really improving each new installment, Blizzard represents laziness in the sense that they haven't fucking done anything after giving up on Overwatch 2. That's not even getting into the whole Diablo Immortal fiasco that caused everyone in the gaming community to immediately cease taking anything that Blizzard planned to do seriously from that day forward.
Is there any plans to make this playable on PC, or is this strictly mobile forever?
Are there any? The current plan is to be on mobile, both Android and iOS. We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC. Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
Or the fact that they're partially responsible for the upbringing of the most obnoxious corporate plant indie dev ever seen. So yeah, thanks Blizzard for partly being responsible for Pirate Software, you fucking jackasses. I could easily make a whole video on why Five Nights at Freddy's should have just ended at number 4. And one of those reasons is that we likely wouldn't have the Pizzaplex arc of the storyline all piloted by these fucks. Of course, part of the problem is that Security Breach dropped with more bugs than an anthill, and the most incoherent story expansion since the novels, but at least the DLC for Security Breach was alright from what I've heard. Oh yeah, and I guess Secret of the Mimic exists, but I'll be honest, I don't actually care, because again, the series should have just ended at FNAF 4. I'm mainly picking on you because I feel like if I went after Warner Bros. Directly, they'd probably sue me or something. You guys are known for Mortal Kombat, which has been in this constant flux of it's so over and we're so back throughout its lifetime all the way up until today. Though, that could easily go for really any fighting game. If the words falling off had a personification, it would be these guys. With the success of Escape from Tarkov, they made a few DLCs with one all-encompassing DLC that gave people the current and future DLCs for Tarkov for the admittedly steep price of $100, but it was an investment into the game. A one-time payment for everything current and future for the game. And then you guys basically ruined your reputation overnight with the Unheard Edition, where you guys dropped a DLC separate from that $100 investment for double the price, purely because it had pay-to-win bullshit in it. And when people called you out on it, and when competition exploded in response to this nonsense, you guys acted like a group of angry, spoiled children by retroactively updating the Edge of Darkness EULA and spitting in the face of your fans left and right. So great job on ruining everything for yourselves overnight. Neil Fuckman needs to know that even the PlayStation crowd is sick of The Last of Us, as it seems like that's all they've really been making for nearly a decade. What a way to shoot down interest in a game, huh? Been over a decade and a half since GTA 5 was released, and then you announced that GTA 6 was supposedly going to come out at some point this year, and then you announced a delay to next year. Then you announce another delay to later next year. And then you announce that the game is going to be nearly $100, and then you get accused of union busting, all within the span of a week. You know, if I gave a fuck about GTA, I'd have lost interest by now. Oh boy. The poster children of perpetual nostalgia bait. As that is honestly the only thing that's keeping the Pokémon games afloat. Maybe if Nintendo gave more money to their studios rather than their legal team, and spent more time making games and abusing their home country's broken patent system, which thankfully has failed, then maybe you wouldn't have to effectively take Palworld's combat system and pretend like you guys came up with it first. You guys are alright. Probably one of the few 90s game companies to still be consistent in making some pretty alright games, with the only problem being that your publishers are fucking Bethesda. Your reboot of the Doom series is honestly awesome, but my problems with you start at the Dark Ages, as that game requires a fucking RTX at its minimum, while still asking for $70 fucking dollars. I just hope your future games don't require me to go through scalpers just to play them, because that's the only reason I haven't bothered to even think about the Dark Ages until today. Ah, hello games. A lot of people have some mixed feelings about you. And while you are known for having one of the most jank multiplayer experiences ever, you still made a space exploration game that's been leagues better than the competition, even if it didn't start that way. When No Man's Sky dropped in late 2016, it was probably one of the worst launches of any game that decade at the time. And while you could have just done what most studios do nowadays, which is to take the pre-order money and run, you guys actually gave a fuck about the project and wanted to turn it into more than what was promised. Fast forward to today, and it's successful enough to the point where you guys are now working on another game. You guys are right up there with Team Cherry in my mind, as extremely respectable developers. While Team Cherry earns my respect in consistently good and accessible games, you guys earn my respect in wanting to actually deliver on your promises, even if it takes several years to earn it. If passion had an image, it would be both these guys and Team Cherry, and they would handily earn their spot in the pantheon of genuinely awesome game studios. And with that being said, as always, thank you for watching.